Hey everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a question that a lot of you have been sending in.
Yeah.
It's something that I think a lot of coders grapple with.
Uh-huh.
And it's that question of, do you go deep, becoming a specialist in one area, or do you go broad and gain a wider range of skills?
Right.
It's a tough one.
It is. It is.
So we're going to dive deep today into an Algo Academy article.
Okay.
And it's called, very appropriately, Should Coders Focus on Depth rather than breadth?
Makes sense.
Now, for those who may not know, Algo Academy is known for their, coding education interview prep,
Yeah.
especially for those who are aiming for those FAing companies.
Right.
So let's see what wisdom we can unearth together.
I love that. I love that. What I find so fascinating about this whole depth versus breadth debate is that there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Right.
Both depth and breadth have their own, allure, their own advantages. And it really comes down to, what are your goals? How do you envision your coding journey unfolding?
Yeah, and the article really starts out making a case for depth.
Right.
And I can see the appeal, right? Like, imagine being like, oh, Python whiz.
Uh-huh.
Like, you can just whip up code like it's nothing.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of expertise, that could lead to some serious efficiency.
For sure.
Problem-solving mastery, not to mention,
Right.
I'm sure, some attractive career advantages as well.
Oh, absolutely. Think of it like this.
Yeah.
You've got your general practitioner, right, your doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got your specialized surgeon.
Okay.
Both are doctors. But that surgeon, with their deep knowledge in their specific area,
Right.
that commands a certain level of respect.
Oh, for sure.
And often, let's be honest, a higher salary.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the coding world, if you specialize in something that's really high in demand,
Yeah.
you become the go-to person.
Right.
Doors open up, opportunities that you might not have even imagined.
And potentially a fatter paycheck, I'm sure.
Potentially.
The article even specifically mentions that companies often seek out specialists
Yeah.
for senior roles
Makes sense.
or roles that demand, those really, really serious technical chops.
Right.
So, yeah, specializing could be like a fast track
Uh-huh.
to some serious career growth.
Yeah.
But then the article throws us a bit of a curveball,
Oh,
and they dive into the breadth argument.
interesting.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
Because, the tech world,
Uh-huh.
it's constantly changing.
Oh, tell me about it.
What's hot today
Yeah,
could be ancient history tomorrow.
absolutely.
So having that broad range of skills, knowing multiple languages, frameworks,
Right.
could make you adaptable.
Yeah,
Like a tech chameleon blending into any environment.
I love that. I love that analogy. It's so true.
Yeah.
With breadth, you get this panoramic view, right, of the whole tech ecosystem. So you're not just understanding how to use individual tools, but how they all fit together. You're building an entire toolkit, not just mastering one tool.
The article gives this really great example, I thought.
Okay, lay it on me.
So imagine you're building a website,
Uh-huh.
and users can translate phrases.
Interesting. Okay.
Knowing multiple languages
Right.
could be a game changer.
I see where you're going with this.
So you might use Python, let's say,
Yeah.
for its natural language processing libraries,
Uh-huh.
JavaScript for that interactive user interface,
Right.
and then maybe even dip into a language specifically designed for, like, linguistic analysis.
Wow. Okay.
Having that multilingual approach could lead to a much more robust and efficient solution.
That's a fantastic illustration of how breadth can really enhance problem solving. You're not limited to just one perspective, right?
Yeah.
You can draw from all these diverse tools and techniques
Right.
to find that most elegant solution.
And now for another twist.
Oh, there's more.
Because Algo Academy then suggests
Yeah.
a balanced approach.
Right.
Starting with a rock-solid foundation
Uh-huh.
in core programming concepts.
It makes sense, right?
It's like learning the alphabet
Yeah,
before you try and write a novel.
exactly. Imagine trying to build a house without knowing the basics of construction.
Right.
It would be a disaster.
Yeah.
And those core concepts, they're the building blocks of any program, really.
So they list a few key areas to focus on.
Okay, what are they?
Data structures and algorithms,
Mm-hmm.
object-oriented and functional programming,
Right.
version control with Git,
Of course, yeah.
and having a grasp of those basic web technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
The essentials, yeah.
Okay, so let's break down what some of that stuff actually means, shall we?
Let's do it. Let's demystify some of these terms.
Okay, let's start with data structures.
All right. Data structures, they're essentially ways to organize information in code.
Okay.
It's kind of like Think of it like arranging a library.
Okay.
You wouldn't just throw books on shelves randomly, would you?
No, definitely not.
No. You'd categorize them maybe by genre, by author.
Right.
So they're easy to find.
Mm-hmm.
Data structures do the same thing for data and code.
Okay.
Make it efficient to store, retrieve, and work with that data.
So then we have algorithms.
Ah, yes. Algorithms, they're like recipes for solving specific problems.
Okay.
Need to sort a list of names alphabetically. Boom. There's an algorithm for that.
So we've got our data organized.
Yeah.
We've got our recipes for solving problems.
You're cooking.
What about this object-oriented programming thing?
Oh, OOP. Right. You hear that term thrown around a lot.
I do.
It's a way of designing programs around, objects.
Okay.
And these objects are like blueprints
Mhm.
for things in the real world.
Okay.
Each object has properties and behaviors.
Okay. So like an example.
Yeah. So think of a car, right?
Okay.
The car object properties would be like its color, its make, its model.
Right.
Behaviors would be accelerating, braking, turning.
Wow.
So instead of writing these long, messy chunks of code,
Yeah.
you create these neat little objects to represent things in your program.
Right.
And it becomes much more organized, much easier to manage.
Right. I'm starting to get the hang of this.
You got it. You got it.
We've got our building blocks, data structures.
Uh-huh.
We've got our recipes, the algorithms.
Yes.
We've got our blueprints, the objects.
Right.
And we've got our mini machines, the functions.
Love it. You're getting it.
What's next on this foundation checklist?
Okay. So next up is version control.
Okay.
And the reigning champion in this arena is Git.
Git. Okay.
Now, imagine you're working on this big project, making changes, trying new things.
Right.
Suddenly, something breaks.
Oh, no.
Wouldn't it be great to rewind, go back to a previous version?
Oh, 100%.
Before things went haywire.
Yeah.
That's what Git lets you do.
Okay.
Like a time machine for your code.
Oh, I like that.
You can track changes, collaborate with others, and revert back if needed.
That sounds like a lifesaver.
It is, especially when you're juggling those complex projects.
Yeah.
And then lastly on the list, those web technologies. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Okay, yes.
These are the languages that really make the web come alive.
Right.
Think of it this way.
Mm-hmm.
HTML, it provides the structure of the web page, like the skeleton CSS, that adds the style, the visual flair, makes it look all fancy.
Mm-hmm.
And then JavaScript, that's where the interactivity comes in.
Okay.
It makes things move, respond to user actions.
Makes it all work.
All the cool stuff we see on websites.
So mastering these web technologies is like essential for anyone who aspires to be a web developer.
Absolutely. It's like having the right tools in your toolbox.
Yeah.
For building those awesome websites.
Yeah, and so once you have that solid foundation,
right.
Algo Academy suggests choosing a primary language or a tech stack to dive deeper into.
Makes sense.
And this is where, your individual interests, your career aspirations really come into play.
Totally.
So this is where we start venturing from that broad to more specialized path.
Exactly. Honing in on that area where you really want to shine.
But even as you specialize, you say it's still important to stay curious.
Oh, absolutely.
And continue exploring those related technologies.
For sure. You don't want to become a one-trick pony.
Right.
It's all about connections, cross-pollination. The more you understand about different areas, even outside your specialization, the more valuable you become.
Okay, I'm loving this balanced approach. So we've got the foundation, the specialization,
right,
while still keeping an open mind for broader learning.
Exactly.
What else does Algo Academy have in store for us?
Well, they actually delve into a topic that I know a lot of aspiring coders are curious about.
Okay.
Acing those coveted FA interviews.
Ah, yes. The FA interview.
The stuff of legends, right.
Both terrifying and exhilarating. It is.
What kind of tips does Algo Academy offer for navigating this challenging process?
They point out that preparing for these interviews, it's a bit of a different take on that depth versus breadth balance.
Okay.
It's almost like preparing for an athletic competition. You
you
need that strong overall foundation, your fitness, right?
Right.
But you also need to excel in your chosen discipline, your sport.
So what's that look like in the context of a Kevin Hang interview?
All right, so first, mastering those core computer science concepts.
Yeah.
Those are your fundamental skills. Like knowing the rules of the game.
Okay.
This means data structures, algorithms, time and space complexity,
right,
operating system basics.
So we're back to that strong foundation again.
It all starts there.
But then we also need to demonstrate expertise in a specific area.
Exactly. So while being comfortable with multiple languages is great,
Right.
you need to showcase deep proficiency in at least one.
It's like being a master chef, right?
Mm.
Who can create a stunning 5-course meal.
Okay.
But they have that one signature dish that blows everyone away.
So what are some of the signature dishes of the coding world?
Oh, good question. I mean, Python, Java, C++, ACK, JavaScript.
Okay.
They're always popular choices.
Right.
But the key is to go beyond just knowing the syntax. You need to demonstrate fluency,
Right.
the ability to write clean, efficient code without constantly relying on those crutches like IDE features or documentation.
So it sounds like these FFNGA interviews really put your skills to the test.
Oh, they do. They do. But that's the price of entry, right, to
Yeah.
those top companies.
I guess so.
And Algo Academy emphasizes another crucial aspect,
Okay.
problem solving under pressure.
Oh, yes. The dreaded whiteboard coding challenge.
Ah, yes. It can feel like you're performing brain surgery in front of a live audience.
Right. It's terrifying.
But, they suggest practicing those coding challenges with time constraints
Right.
to get used to that environment.
Okay.
Their platform even offers timed coding exercises and mock interviews
That's fantastic.
to help you prepare.
I bet that takes some of the edge off.
I think so.
But wait, there's more, right?
Oh, there's always more.
Algo Academy mentioned something about system design principles as well.
Right. This is especially important for those more senior roles
Mm-hmm.
where you're not just writing code,
Right.
but designing systems
Okay.
that can handle massive amounts of data,
Yeah.
user traffic.
Okay.
Think of it like designing a city, right?
Oh, interesting.
You have to think about traffic flow, utilities, how it scales as more people move.
I see.
System design is similar,
Okay.
ensuring those websites, those apps can handle all that traffic smoothly.
So it's like being an architect
Exactly.
for the digital world,
Yeah.
creating those blueprints
Uh.
for scalable and robust systems.
Now, they mention a few key concepts here.
Okay, like what?
Scalability, load balancing, caching, database sharding, microservices architecture.
So those are all about building systems
Oh.
that can grow and adapt
Right, huh?
as demands change.
Right, just like that city that can accommodate
Yeah.
an influx of new residents without collapsing.
Yeah. And finally,
One more little nugget.
okay.
They throw in a bit of strategic advice.
Uh-huh.
Brush up on company-specific technologies.
Okay, so what does that mean?
It means that while it's not absolutely necessary,
Mm-hmm.
knowing what technologies your dream company loves to use,
Yeah,
it can give you a little bit of an edge.
I see.
It's like showing up to a party wearing the host's favorite color.
Okay.
Doesn't guarantee you'll be the life of the party,
Right.
but it certainly doesn't hurt.
So if you're targeting Facebook, having some React experience would be helpful.
Exactly.
For Amazon, some AWS knowledge.
Makes sense?
And for Google, a solid understanding of machine learning could make a difference.
yeah, you're speaking their language, showing them you've done your homework,
Exactly.
that you're serious about working in their environment.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
The case for depth, the case for breadth,
Uh-huh.
the importance of that strong foundation,
Right.
the nuances of prepping for those FAing interviews,
Those are tough.
and even some strategic tips for standing out.
It's a lot to take in, right?
It is.
But don't worry, Algo Academy doesn't just leave us hanging with all this information.
Okay, good.
They actually provide some very practical steps
Okay, good.
to implement this balanced learning strategy.
All right, I'm all ears. What actionable advice do they offer for actually putting all of this into practice?
Well, they recommend starting with creating a learning roadmap.
A roadmap.
Yeah, it's essentially a personalized curriculum
Okay.
for your coding journey.
So we're not just wandering aimlessly.
No. You have a map to guide you.
I like that.
And they suggest starting by identifying your primary area of focus, your North Star.
Okay.
So what is it that really gets you excited about coding? Do you see yourself as a web developer, a data scientist, a mobile app developer?
Okay, yeah.
What is it that you're really drawn to?
So we figure out where we want to go, and then we plot a course to get there.
Exactly. And they also recommend breaking down that learning journey into stages.
Okay.
Setting realistic goals, timelines
Right.
for each one.
It's like planning a road trip.
It is. It is. You wouldn't try to drive across the entire country in one go, would you?
No way.
You'd break it down.
You got to stop, rest, refuel.
Exactly. You got to see those sites along the way.
Right, right.
The same principle applies to your coding journey.
Okay, I love that analogy.
It makes it less daunting, right?
It does.
Breaking it down into smaller, more achievable goals, giving yourself time to absorb that information, practice.
But what if our interests change along the way?
That's a great point. And Algo Academy actually emphasizes flexibility.
Okay.
Your roadmap is not set in stone. It's a living document that can and should evolve as you learn and grow.
So we're embracing that growth mindset, being open to new possibilities and adjusting our plan as we go.
Exactly.
Okay, so Algo Academy obviously recommends, using online learning platforms like their own.
Makes sense.
They have a ton of great resources for that guided learning.
They do.
But, there are so many other fantastic platforms out there as well.
Oh, absolutely. Each with their own strengths, their own teaching style.
So some focus on video-based learning. Others might be more hands-on, project-based.
Exactly.
Some offer self-paced courses, while others might have more structured, cohort-based experiences.
Yeah, it really depends on what clicks for you,
So it's not one size fits all.
No, not at all.
We've got to experiment and find that learning environment that best suits our needs.
Find what resonates with you, what keeps you motivated, excited to learn.
Yep.
But Algo Academy really emphasizes that, it's crucial to go beyond that passive learning, to move from just consuming information to actively applying it.
Yeah.
And that's where building projects comes in.
Okay, so I am all for rolling up my sleeves.
I love that.
And getting my hands dirty.
Yeah.
It's like, the difference between reading a cookbook and actually cooking a meal.
You can't truly master those culinary skills
Right.
without getting in that kitchen.
Exactly.
Experimenting.
So projects are the ultimate test of our coding knowledge.
They are.
They force us to think critically,
Yes.
problem solve, troubleshoot those errors.
You learn so much from those errors.
Yeah.
You really do.
And best of all, we get to see our hard work come to life.
That's the best part, right?
Right.
That feeling of accomplishment.
But I think those projects can seem daunting, especially when you're just starting out.
Especially for beginners, yeah.
Where do you even begin?
That's a great question, and Algo Academy actually provides some really helpful guidance here.
Okay, good.
They don't just tell you to build projects.
Right.
They give you practical steps
Okay, good.
to get started.
Right.
They suggest starting small.
Okay.
Your first projects don't need to be complex, groundbreaking.
Right.
It could be something as simple as building a basic calculator,
Oh, great.
creating a to-do list app,
Mm-hmm.
or even just replicating a website layout that you admire.
I love that.
So
It's those small wins
exactly.
that keep you going.
And choose something that interests you, that motivates you to learn
Right.
and to experiment.
But what if you get stuck?
That's where the coding community comes in.
Okay.
Algo Academy strongly encourages sharing those projects,
Mm-hmm.
getting feedback, from friends,
Okay.
mentors, or those online communities.
Right.
It's a fantastic way
Mhm.
to learn from mistakes, get those areas of improvement, and really build your confidence.
So don't be afraid to ask for help.
Absolutely.
Bounce ideas off others.
Yes.
Or even just, share your progress.
Yeah.
Celebrate those small wins.
Celebrate those wins.
It's amazing how supportive the
Never.
coding community is.
Oh, it's incredible. Always someone willing to lend a helping hand, offer encouragement.
And, beyond seeking help when you need it,
Yeah.
Algo Academy also recommends actively engaging with that community by participating in coding challenges and competitions.
Oh, yeah. Those can be so much fun,
Right.
and they really sharpen your skills.
Yeah, and test your knowledge against other coders
Yeah.
and see what it's like to work under pressure.
And there are so many online platforms that offer those coding challenges.
Right.
Different difficulty levels, covering a wide range of topics and languages.
Yeah.
It's like a mental workout
I love
for those coding muscles.
And some of them even offer prizes
They do.
or recognition.
Yeah.
But even if you don't win,
Uh-huh.
the experience itself
Absolutely.
is valuable.
You learn new techniques, identify areas to improve, and see different problem-solving approaches.
Yeah, I love that.
It's great.
They also suggest
Yeah.
contributing to open source projects,
Oh, yeah,
which is a fantastic way
it is.
to immerse yourselves in the real world of coding.
So open source projects,
Yeah,
they're like these giant collaborative playgrounds
I like that.
where developers from all over the world come together to build amazing things.
It's like a giant coding potluck.
I love that.
Where everyone brings their skills and their ingredients.
Exactly. And anyone can contribute, regardless of skill level.
So whether you're a seasoned vet or a newcomer, there's a place for you.
Absolutely.
In this open source community.
And it's an amazing way to learn by doing, to collaborate with others, to see how real-world software is built.
And to make a real-world impact.
Exactly. You're learning from experienced developers.
Yeah. It's like an apprenticeship for the digital age.
It really is.
But beyond online learning and the hands-on projects, AlgoCademy also highlights the value of attending those workshops, webinars, and conferences.
Oh, yeah. Those can be fantastic. They're a fantastic source of inspiration, knowledge, and networking.
So imagine being surrounded by hundreds or even thousands of other passionate coders.
It's electric.
Right.
It really is.
All eager to learn, share ideas, and connect.
Absolutely.
It's like a giant coding festival.
It is. It is.
Right. Filled with energy and excitement.
So much energy.
And endless learning opportunity.
And you get to hear from industry experts. Dive deep into specific topics, attend hands-on workshops.
And don't underestimate the power of those informal conversations.
Oh, absolutely.
Those connections you make.
The networking is invaluable.
Yeah.
You never know who you might meet, right?
Right.
A potential mentor, a future collaborator, maybe even your next employer.
It's all about expanding that network.
Yeah.
Building those relationships.
Absolutely.
Exposing yourself to new ideas and perspectives.
So important.
And finally,
one last thing.
AlgoCademy emphasizes the importance of joining coding communities.
Yes.
Both online and offline.
So online communities like forums, chat groups, social media platforms dedicated to coding.
Yeah.
These can be fantastic resources.
For asking questions.
Exactly. Getting help, sharing your knowledge.
And then the local meetups.
Yeah.
Coding clubs.
Those offer that in-person connection. You can collaborate on projects, attend workshops. It's all about that sense of community.
It is.
Feeling like you're part of something bigger.
And it makes you feel like you're not alone.
Exactly. It's like having that built-in support system, you know?
Yeah.
You can share your struggles, celebrate those successes, and find encouragement when you need it most.
Yeah.
Especially when you face those inevitable challenges.
But here's the thing about this coding journey, right? It's not one size fits all.
No, not at all.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Right.
And our approach is probably going to evolve as we gain experience.
It will. It will.
And discover new interests.
So let's talk about those different stages of that coding journey.
Right.
And what AlgoCademy recommends for each one.
Okay, yeah.
So for beginners, they emphasize building that strong foundation in those programming basics. It's like laying the groundwork for a skyscraper, right?
Okay.
You need that solid base to support all those complex structures you'll build later.
Right.
No skipping ahead to the fancy stuff before mastering the fundamentals.
So beginners should focus on
understanding those core concepts like we talked about.
Right.
Variables, data types, control flow, functions, basic algorithms, and choose one programming language.
Okay.
And stick with it.
Right.
Until they feel comfortable, you know, with the syntax and those basic concepts.
It's like learning a spoken language.
Really is.
You wouldn't try to learn Spanish, French, and German all at the same time.
Exactly. You pick one, you focus on it until you get to a certain level of proficiency.
And just like learning a spoken language, the key is
practice.
Yeah, to practice.
Consistently.
Yeah.
The more you code,
right,
the more comfortable and confident you'll become.
But beyond just practicing those basic concepts, beginners should also start exploring some simple projects, right?
Absolutely. It's about taking those theoretical concepts and turning them into something tangible.
I like that.
Something you can see, something you can interact with.
Yeah.
And remember, those first projects, they don't need to be complex.
Right.
They don't have to be groundbreaking.
Oh.
They can be as simple as building a basic calculator or a to-do list application.
Right.
Or even just replicating a website layout that you like.
Right.
The goal is to experiment, to have fun, to build that confidence.
So we see those lines of code coming to life.
Exactly.
And it's like, wow, I did that.
That's it.
And platforms like AlgoCademy can be a great resource.
Especially for beginners.
Yeah. Those who are just starting out.
They offer those step-by-step tutorials,
Right.
interactive exercises, personalized feedback, which can be so helpful in those early stages of that coding journey.
But what about those who have moved beyond the beginner stage?
Okay, yeah. So
what advice does Algo Academy offer?
for those intermediate developers?
Yeah.
Well, for those who've built that solid foundation, they're comfortable with their primary language.
Right.
Algo Academy suggests deepening their expertise in that chosen area.
So it's going from, like, I know how to code to I am really good at this specific type of coding.
That's it. Honing those skills, mastering those best practices.
Okay, becoming an expert.
Exactly.
That domain.
Yeah.
But they also emphasize, the importance of starting to explore related technologies and frameworks at this stage.
Yeah, you don't want to get stuck in a rut, right?
So it's about expanding our horizons.
Yes.
Without losing sight of those core strengths.
Exactly. It's like branching out from your favorite genre of music.
Okay.
Exploring others that share those similar elements or influences.
I like that analogy.
So for example, if you're a web developer, you might start exploring different JavaScript frameworks like React, Angular, Vue.js.
Okay.
Or if you're a data scientist, you might dive deeper into machine learning libraries like TensorFlow, PyTorch.
So it's about broadening our skill set.
Exactly.
Becoming more versatile while still maintaining that strong foundation in our primary area.
Absolutely.
And Algo Academy also suggests that intermediate developers start working on more complex projects.
Yes. This is where you really get to challenge yourself. Projects that integrate multiple technologies.
So instead of just building those simple web pages, or scripts, it's like tackling a project that involves building a web app with a database.
Right, with user authentication.
Maybe even some machine learning components.
Exactly. It's putting all those skills to the test. Building those robust and sophisticated applications.
And as we tackle those more challenging projects, Algo Academy also encourages intermediate developers to focus on improving code quality and efficiency.
It's not just about getting the code to work anymore. It's about writing clean, maintainable code that follows those best practices and conventions. It's like the difference between a functional but messy house and a beautiful, well-designed home. That's both aesthetically pleasing and structurally sound.
Okay, I'm getting the picture.
You got it. You got it.
So for intermediate developers, it's about deepening expertise, broadening skills. Tackling those complex projects.
Absolutely.
And really focusing on that code quality.
Right. It's taking it to the next level. But what about those who've reached the advanced stages?
Those seasoned veterans.
The veterans.
What does Algo Academy offer for them?
Well, even the most experienced developers need to stay sharp, right? Adapt to that ever-changing tech landscape. So Algo Academy emphasizes continuous learning, even for those who are already at the top of their game.
So no resting on our laurels.
No, never stop learning.
Even if we've been coding for decades.
Exactly. The tech world is constantly evolving. New technologies are always emerging.
So what specific areas should advanced developers be focusing on?
They recommend exploring cutting-edge technologies in their field. Things like AI, blockchain, cloud computing, cybersecurity.
So it's really about staying ahead of that curve.
Exactly. Positioning yourself for success in the future. And they also encourage advanced developers to consider specializing in those high-demand areas within their field. For example, if you're a web developer, you might specialize in front-end frameworks like React or Angular. Or if you're a data scientist, specialize in deep learning or natural language processing. Those are hot skills.
They are.
In fields like AI and machine learning.
So by specializing, we increase our value. Open ourselves up to more opportunities.
To those exciting and lucrative career opportunities.
But Algo Academy also emphasizes the importance of giving back to the community.
Even for those at the top of their game, they encourage mentoring, contributing to open source projects, sharing their knowledge.
Just about paying it forward.
It is. Sharing that hard-earned knowledge and experience. Helping to shape the next generation of coders.
It's a beautiful cycle. We learn, we grow, we give back. and everyone benefits.
That's what makes the coding world so special, right?
Yeah.
It's a community of passionate, curious, incredibly supportive individuals.
And they're always willing to learn from one another.
Yeah.
And help each other grow.
So whether you're a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced developer, there's always room for growth and learning.
And Algocademy provides a valuable roadmap for this whole journey.
They do.
Emphasizing the balance, the continuous learning, and the community involvement.
So important.
But ultimately, the most important ingredient is our own passion, curiosity, and willingness to learn and adapt.
That's what drives us forward. If you're feeling overwhelmed by it all, just remember, start with that solid foundation. Focus on what interests you. Embrace that continuous learning. Connect with the community.
And most importantly, have fun.
Have fun. Coding is so rewarding, so fulfilling. The possibilities are endless.
Okay, so with that inspiring thought,
we're going to wrap up our deep dive into Algocademy's insights
on this whole depth versus breadth dilemma.
Exactly.
But before we sign off, we want to leave you with a question to ponder.
Okay, hit me.
We've explored the arguments for depth versus breadth and uncovered those practical steps for creating a balanced learning plan. But I think it's important to take a step back and consider the bigger picture.
You're right. It's easy to get caught up in the technical details, but why are we even having this conversation? Why does all of this matter?
Exactly. It's not just about writing lines of code or mastering a specific technology. It's about using those skills to create something meaningful, to solve real-world problems, and to make a positive impact.
That's what makes coding such a powerful and exciting field. It's about using technology to innovate, to improve lives, to shape the future.
And I think that's what makes Algocademy's approach so refreshing. They don't just focus on the technical skills. They also emphasize the importance of those soft skills, like communication, teamwork, problem solving.
Absolutely. Those skills are essential for turning technical abilities into real-world solutions. You can be the most brilliant coder in the world, but if you can't communicate your ideas effectively or collaborate with others, your impact will be limited.
It's about being a well-rounded individual, not just a coding machine. It's about understanding the human element of technology and using your skills to make a positive difference.
Precisely. And that's why this whole conversation about depth versus breadth is so important. It's not about choosing one over the other. It's about finding the right balance for you, for your goals, and for the problems you want to solve.
So as we wrap up this deep dive curated just for you, I want to leave you with a question to ponder. Knowing what we've covered, what one project idea excites you the most? And what skills, deep or broad, would it require to bring that idea to life?
That's a good one.
Take some time to think about it. What problem do you want to solve? What impact do you want to make? Maybe it's building an app to help people learn a new language or a platform to connect volunteers with organizations in need. Or perhaps it's creating a game that teaches kids about sustainability. Or a tool that helps researchers analyze complex data.
So many possibilities.
Let that idea simmer in your mind. And as you explore those skills, whether you choose to go deep in one area or broad across several, remember that this is just the beginning of your coding journey.
The journey is the destination, right?
Exactly. Embrace the challenges, celebrate the victories, and never stop learning. The world of coding is constantly evolving, and there's always something new to discover, a new skill to master, a new problem to solve.
Onward and upward.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.